Miami is off to a 2-0 start, but to me, it just feels different than in year one with Mario. But I want to know, how much did this win mean to the program itself? Now, beating a ranked opponent at home, Mario's first real signature win at Miami, it also had a big impact on recruiting. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it with Izubee Charles of Kane Sport right now. Izubee, big game last night at Hard Rock. It was a fun one to be at, I'm sure. Now, what does this win mean to the program itself at Miami?
And man, did Miami need this one, Josh. Leading up to this game, everyone knew how important this contest was, but seeing Miami win in that fashion was just really amazing. Despite, the few special team mistakes early on and things like that, Miami kind of came back and made up for the big return and kind of fought through adversity. The Hurricanes looked great. And when they went down early 14-3, it was kind of like okay, here we go again situation, the old 2022 Miami, falling behind against a big team at home and not be able to overcome that hump. But Tyler Van Dyke said it best himself. Last year's team would have quit, and this time around, we're not going to quit. We got the leaders that want to step up, and Miami did a great job. Van Dyke showed that he can, come up and have a big-time performance in a big-time game with 5 touchdown passes, and the defense held Texas A&M's wide receivers Evan Stewart and Noah Thomas to kind of minimal games and not big touchdowns. So Miami really, really needed this one, and just the energy inside Hard Rock was amazing, and just everything and all this. This is exactly what the doctor ordered for the guys in Coral Gables.
Yeah, beating a ranked opponent at home, Mario's first real signature win, and dozens of recruits on the sidelines. How does a game like this impact recruiting?
Yeah, this was a huge step in the right direction for Miami recruiting-wise. This is going to make recruiting a bit easy for Mario and those guys. And, I just look back throughout last year's cycle. One of the things that they continued to preach was, hey, guys, we don't have our guys in the program right now, and we don't have the culture that we want. Once we get our guys in, once we start building that culture, the wins are going to come. And I know it's only week 2 and Miami's 2-0 and beat Texas A&M, but last year Texas A&M was a team that roughed up Miami a little bit. So this season, getting that win is huge for them. And you're seeing the progression they talked about, which is huge. And since the summer, recruits have been saying, I want to see if Miami can take that next step. I want to see if Miami can, be better than they were last year. And, through 2 games, they beat a team that beat them last year, and they roughed up a Miami Ohio team that they should have beat. So Miami's passing the test right now with a lot of these guys. We've seen that progression and seeing them take that next step forward.
All right, Izubee, let's talk about some of the big names that were on campus in Miami over the weekend. Let's start with LJ McCray, the 4-star defensive lineman from Mainland High School. We talked to him last week here on the Inside Scoop. How important was it to get him on campus for this win?
No, this was huge for getting LJ McCray back on campus. We're getting closer to his October commitment, and Miami's battling right now with his top 5 schools of Auburn, Georgia, Florida, and Florida State down the stretch. And, Saturday, I think they kind of swung momentum their way a little bit. We talked about how him coming off that FSU game day visit was huge, but I think Miami kind of, was up to bar with what FSU did and things like that. And when I spoke with LJ after the game and asked him about, how big of an impact seeing Miami come away with this win, he said it was huge, And the biggest thing that he mentioned was Miami backing up what they've been telling him for a while of, hey, we're going to get things going. Hey, we've got our guys in place. And him seeing that, he said he's kind of seeing what they've been talking about come to fruition. And I feel like that's going to be huge for Miami down the stretch. Obviously, he still has that big official visit to Florida State, but I feel like getting him back on campus and having this good of a showing in front of him against a top 25 team was huge for Miami and their hopes of landing LJ McCray.
Yeah, it was huge to get him on campus. I agree with you there. Now, along with LJ McCray, he came to campus with his teammate, 4-star safety Zay Mincey, who's being recruited by the Big 3 in Florida State, Miami, and also Alabama heavily involved there. Now, he came out of the game and told your Kane Sport coworker, Stephen Wagner, that he is committing this week. Okay, not exactly what it sounds like, though, Izubee. Mincey said he plans to silently commit to a program this week and then announce publicly his decision in 4 months at the January All-Star Game. So I don't know how to take all this information, but do you think that there's any correlation between this weekend's Miami visit and Mincey saying he's going to silently commit this week?
So we've been hearing, for some time that Mincey might do that silent commitment, but coming out of this game, I feel like he's just kind of, exciting these Miami staffs, exciting these Miami fans by saying this. But I'm not going to put all my marbles in one basket with this one because we do have a lot of time until January. But I do think Miami's trending in the right direction with, both Mincey and McCray. Mincey's returning to South Florida Saturday. It was the first time since the summer where he kind of made that sneaky, unexpected visit to Miami. And Miami's been really putting that full court press on him and really, really trying to keep, the top, one of the top safeties in the country home. They are going to have to sweat out an official visit to Alabama, who's kind of been making a very strong push as of late. But like you mentioned, Florida State and Florida are battling out for Zay Mincey. But I do think Miami's kind of like I said with LJ McCray, momentum's kind of swinging Miami's way. What better way than show a kid, hey, come to the program and beating a top 25 team and showing that you're making progress in the right direction. I'm not going to take too much of him saying he's going to do that silent commitment this week, but I do feel like Miami's going to be right in the mix of it to the very end.
Yeah, I like that. There's a silent commitment 4 months before you announce it publicly. My take on that is, a public commitment isn't binding. Kids flip all the time. A public commitment barely means anything these days. A silent commitment, I mean, I guess if you get it, you're the team that Zay Mincey calls up and he gives it to you. You assume that you now lead for Zay Mincey, but until he goes public with that thing, I'm not putting too much weight on a silent commitment. Does this win help solidify things for some of the commitments? Mainly speaking about wide receiver Chance Robinson, JoJo Trader. These are two recruits that other teams have not let up on. So they were both in the house for this one. Do you think this helps kind of solidify that?
Yeah, most definitely. When your receiver hauls in 3 touchdowns and your quarterback goes for 5, I feel like it's hard to not be excited if you're a wide receiver in high school coming to Miami. Jacoby George is the Miami Hurricanes receiver. He's a South Florida guy too. Went to Plantation High School, and just seeing a guy that you could see yourself stepping in his shoes from the same area as you. That's huge for Miami, huge for JoJo Trader and Chance Robinson. And after the game, they went to the locker room and they were just around the players. They posted the pictures on Instagram celebrating. So I feel like Miami could have done a better job of impressing their future wide receivers and kind of solidifying their pledge and commitment to Miami. After they left the locker room, they were all smiles when they came out of the players' tunnel, and they were just laughing and giggling, and just everyone seemed to have a good time. I spoke with JoJo, Steven spoke with Chance, and both of their reactions were very similar, just like, okay, now we see why we wanted to tonight. Now we see why, what Coach Kevin Beard was saying, why he wanted us to stay, why he wanted us to give Miami a shot. And, they're seeing the proof is in the pudding. Miami's actually doing what they talked about. So I feel like this game went a long way for Miami. If they continue to have showings like this, what I fully expect they will, I feel like those guys are going to be locks for Miami come January.
Yeah, it kind of felt like this was proof of concept, right? Like the recruits had bought into everything that they were saying, but now they could see it for themselves on the field. What recruit, uncommitted guys, what recruit do you think this had the biggest impact on?
So I'm going to have to go with 2 guys in the 2025 class, 2 5-star prospects and defensive lineman Armando Blunt and cornerback / defensive back named Olford. 2 2025 guys that are, I think, top 10 overall in the class, and they were just really, really excited to see, what Miami could do on the field, and really, really excited to see Miami actually do what they said they could do on the field. Armando Blunt was tweeting throughout the game, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Miami. Is Miami the place to be, and all this good stuff that you love to see, recruits say on social media. And, Naeem Olford, after the game, I spoke with him, and, that was his first time being in Miami for a game, and he was really, really impressed. He said him and Coach Cristobal are building a very strong relationship, as well as Jamil Adai, the defensive back coach. He told me he loved how aggressive the DBs were. They were coming in, forcing fumbles, making interceptions, and all that good stuff. So I feel like obviously 2025 is still a while away, but Miami made a really big impact on those 2 5-star guys that could be key pieces if they end up committing to Miami in the future.
All right, Miami fans, remember to hit that subscribe button. We have a dedicated channel only to recruiting. On3 Recruits. We used to be on the On3 national page. Now we have On3 Recruits. So go ahead, smash that subscribe button. All right, Izubee, last question I got for you. A game like that, at home with all these recruits on campus, sometimes this happens, but is there anybody trending in Miami's direction after the game that wasn't before the game started?
Yeah, I would have, before I would have said the easy answer would have been LJ McCray or Zay Mincey, but I'm kind of going to go in a different direction and say Booker Pickett out of Wharton in Tampa. he's a 4-star edge. That's a Miami legacy. His dad played defensive end at University of Miami a little bit ago, and he was kind of a guy that was always on Miami's radar, but kind of fell off as of late. Hasn't been on campus for some time now, and I was kind of surprised when I seen him arrive to Hard Rock Stadium Saturday, and I talked to him a little bit, and I was just like, how does it feel to be back? He said, it feels amazing. Miami recently made his top 5, and they're kind of putting that full court press on him now. He like I said, he's a Miami legacy. He's a very efficient, a very good pass rusher. 30 sacks his junior season, and he's a guy that Miami kind of really likes at the moment right now. We've known Miami's been trying to recruit this very, very good defensive line class, and obviously after missing out on a few guys, you gotta search and find guys. And I feel like Booker Pickett is a guy that is trending towards Miami at the moment. They still have to battle out with Ohio State, Georgia, South Carolina, a few others, but I feel like after this visit, having him on campus, having such a big win in front of him, in front of his dad, that was huge for Miami. And I feel like he's going to be a name to monitor for the Hurricanes in the near future.
All right. Well, Izubee, it was a big win for the Canes, a big win for Miami fans who follow recruiting as well. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But as for now, it's exciting. Thanks for stopping by on the Inside Scoop and talking Miami recruiting with us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.